This is so, it's retarded, okay? This is retarded.
Oh, wow.
And you're retarded if you believe it. In reality, the school was organizing a memorial to Kirk in the courtyard. Nobody's trying to hide that that's where Charlie was killed. And the school has invested in replacing the grass where Charlie was speaking with new pavers. But the pattern of pavers match standard hardscape and drainage designs. There is zero evidence of anything structurally anomalous. But again, the facts don't matter. This is the whole thing. The facts don't matter. I can spend all day
stop
doing
again.
This. The facts don't.
No one said that it was structurally anomalous. It was up on a platform over pavers and grass. When they pulled it all out, it was fine. Why the FBI and the governor, what do they have to do with the memorial the school's doing? They ordered it done.
Because here's the shtick, and this is always Candace's shtick, always in front. It's also happened to be Tucker's shtick and the rest of the conspiracy woke right. The goal is to create a miasma of suspicion around an event in order to undermine trust in systems and foster a belief that the conspiratorial leader is the only one who's telling you the truth. That's the entire game. It's the game over and over and over. So in this particular case, the goal.
We've been lied to so many times about everything. It's normal to be like this. The system's lost credibility, Benny boy. Like you said, Iran will fall in a few days. It's going to work great. Get it? We don't trust you, dude. You primary our leaders. You work for a foreign government.
So Ben Shapiro has a message for you. If you have any questions about the Charlie Kirk assassination, the timeline, the crime scene, the investigation, Ben has a word for you. And it's not, I disagree, and not, here's the evidence. It's pretty much just, you're retarded. Like millions of Americans, we all watched Charlie Kirk get assassinated on camera. And it's absolutely horrific. And of course, all of us have questions. And if we ask them, according to Ben, we're all just retarded. And here's where the questions lie. And it's not about his straw man argument about, oh, it's the papers that went down. That's not it. I have a clip of the actual pretrial hearing where the head investigator says, I didn't order it. I didn't know they were actually paving over it. It's not about the papers. It's about the timing of it all. It's about what were they hiding? Why were they dug up so quickly? And it had to be done that first weekend. So those are the questions that we have. It has nothing to do with the papers. And here's the thing. Ben Shapiro, he's going after everybody for questioning the official story. He's called listening to Charlie Kirk conspiracies. He pretty much called it a sin. He actually said it was a sin to ask these questions and to even listen to these conspiracy theories. Now, here's my problem, and it's not what Ben thinks it is, because nobody I know is saying they know exactly what happened, and that's not the position anybody's taking. The position is we don't believe what they're being told. We're not being told it's because it's a bunch of bullshit. A lot of things just don't make sense at all. And when things don't make sense, absolutely normal people, we start asking questions, and that's not a conspiracy theory. That's called being awake and not having your head underneath a rock. We were told there was weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, and there wasn't. During COVID, we were told the lab leaks were a debunked conspiracy theory. Then the FBI comes back out and says, no, that was probably the most likely explanation. And then with the Epstein files, yes, we're going to get the Epstein list. It's all going to be exposed. And here we are still waiting on it. All we see is these heavily redacted files. So of course, we're not believing the Fed's law. These are the same institutions that say, trust us, case is closed. Forgive us because we're starting to read the fine print. Skepticism isn't a mental defect. It's a survival skill, and we've all earned it. They handed it to us one lie at a time. And Alex Jones, say what you want about the guy, went right at this. Now, look, you don't have to agree with everything Alex Jones ever said, and I don't, but he's making one point that's hard to argue with. When you call your own audience slurs for asking questions, you're not defending the truth. You're actually defending a narrative, and there's a difference with that. Now, here's where it gets real, because this isn't internet speculation. This is sworn testimony. The Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing started July 6th in Provo. This is the lead investigator, David Hall, State Bureau of Investigations, Utah Department of Public Safety. He took the stand, the lead investigator in this whole entire case. Now watch this.
Do you know when the tent and the stuff was actually removed from the scene?
I don't. I would imagine it had been at least a couple of days, if not longer than that, before anything was removed from the scene.
You didn't have to give permission to remove the tent?
Me, personally?
Right.
No.
So you're not sure when it was removed?
No.
And were you involved in the decision to pave over the dirt that was under the tent?
At UVU?
Uh-huh.
No.
Did you know that happened?
Only because it was in the news.
All right. But you don't know when or who ordered that?
Nope.
So you have the lead investigator says he didn't know the area was being paved over. The man running the investigation didn't know the crime scene was being physically altered. And who ordered it? According to that testimony, the state, not the school. The state is the one that ordered it. Now, let's look at the timeline, because this is part of the whole entire problem with all of this. It just happened so quickly. So you have on September 10th, 1223, Charlie Kirk is shot at UVU courtyard. On September 15th, that's just 5 days later, the courtyard reopens. The grass where he fell, it was gone. It's ripped out. They ripped it all out here. This is on the 5th day. And then it's bricked over. And this is what it looks like on September 17th. It's all getting paved over. Students are back to class and they're literally walking over the pavers. That's 5 days and it's torn apart. Is it normal to release a crime scene within days? Yes, after it's fully documented, photos, like all the measurements, scans, that part happens pretty fast in most cases. But here's the question nobody in legacy media wants to ask. Documenting a scene and demolishing it are two entirely different things. Who made the call to rip out the ground 5 days after a political assassination while a capital murder case was barely a week old? Well, the defense, they hadn't even inspected it yet. The defense had no access to this whatsoever. So the lead investigator says it wasn't his call. He says he didn't even know about it. So whose call was it? Which office, which desk, who signed the work order? Those are questions with answers, specific, boring paper trail answers, and no one's actually giving them. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's a public record request. And here's the thing, Candace Owens actually talked to the guy that actually paved it over, and he said there was an urgency to get it done that weekend. And he was the second guy they called. They had called someone else to do it, and they didn't have the guys on hand because they had this done over the weekend. So it wasn't something that was like, oh, we got to do it. It was like, no, we got to do it, and we got to do it this weekend. So that's where the trust stops right there. It's like, who ordered it? Why was it done so quickly? And what is the urgency of this all to get this all run over? And the defense hasn't even had a look at it yet. And speaking of trust, let's talk about who actually deserves yours. And here's the uncomfortable truth with this whole story. It keeps pointing out that the institutions were raised to trust. They keep giving us reasons not to. And that doesn't stop at the FBI. It goes for the people managing your money too. The dollar in your savings account, it buys less every single year. And that's not a theory. Just check your grocery bill. Augusta Precious Metals helps Americans protect their retirement savings with physical gold and silver. Those are real assets you can hold. That's not a promise. That's not a number on a screen that somebody else controls. And here's what I like about them. There's no hard sell, no pressure tactics. They start with a free one-on-one educational session. They teach you how gold IRAs work, what the fees are, and what the risks are. Everything is on the table. 0 fees up to 10 years on qualifying accounts. Thousands of 5-star ratings, and they've been doing this for a very long time. You don't have to trust me. You don't even have to trust them. That's the point. Get educated and decide for yourself. So if you have over $50,000 to invest, just go in the link in the description below, or you can text Delania, DELANIA, to 35052 and get your free gold kit from Augusta Precious Metals. Now back to Ben, because we need to talk about the oldest trick in the debate playbook. Ben Shapiro literally built a career on facts don't care about your feelings. That was his big saying. So why is he arguing against a position that absolutely nobody holds? And here's the straw man. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Ben frames the courtyard question like this, like, these idiots think we destroyed under the payment. The scene was already processed. There's nothing under there. Pretty much like, checkmate, you morons. But great, that was never the question. Nobody serious is saying there's a magic bullet under the bricks. The question is, who ordered it and why was it so fast? It's a chain of command question. It's a judgment question. It's why was the lead investigator out of the loop? That's the whole entire question. And Ben answers a completely different question. He wins a debate against an argument that absolutely nobody's making. That's a straw man, and he absolutely knows it. He's smart enough to know that. So why do smart people do this? Because the real question is harder to dismiss. There's no evidence under the bricks. That's very easy. So why did the state alter the scene of a political assassination within 5 days while its own lead investigator says he was in the dark? So that's not such an easy question to answer. So he swaps that hard question for the dumb one, beats up the dumb one, and calls you retarded for good measure. Pretty much like you're an idiot for even asking. And we all see it. Everybody sees it. That's the thing about straw men. They only work on people who aren't paying attention. The problem is that we're all paying attention. Which brings us to the last piece. Why is Ben doing this? And why is nobody listening? Because they're not listening. The numbers are absolutely brutal. Shapiro's YouTube videos dropped roughly 85% over the last year. The Daily Wire has laid off a big chunk of his staff this year. They're reporting a full-blown revenue crisis over there. Think about that. 85% of your audience just doesn't wander off. They leave for a reason. And here's my read on it. And this is part of my opinion, so take it at that. But the audience has shifted. The base is anti-establishment now. And Ben keeps siding with the establishment, again, against his own viewers. Firing Candace Owens was the flashpoint. You don't have to agree with everything Candace says, but the message the audience received was loud and clear. Ask the wrong question and you lose your job. And here's the bigger trust problem. His audience increasingly sees him as a lobbyist first and a commentator second, especially on anything touching Israel. Is that fair? Well, look what just happened in Kentucky. This is a documented FEC filings. Thomas Massey, it was disastrous for him. Thomas Massey, a sitting Republican congressman, voted against foreign aid across the board. Israel, Ukraine, Egypt, everybody. Consistent for 15 years. This May, AIPAC, Super PAC, and allied pro-Israel groups dumped over $15 million into taking him out. The most expensive House primary in American history. $32 million total, and it worked. Massey lost. $15 million to remove one congressman for his foreign policy votes. You can support Israel and still find the number alarming. When any lobby, I'm talking any lobby, can spend that kind of money to end a political career over policy disagreements, I think the voters notice and they start asking whose interests they're actually favoring. And their commentators, we can see who Ben is favoring. So when Ben, who never met an AIPAC position he didn't like, calls his own audience retarded for asking questions about a state investigation, the audience does the math and then they unsubscribe. That's not anti-Semitism. Before anyone starts saying Massey's colleagues aren't anti-Semites for noticing $15 million, it's called pretty much just follow the money. And Ben taught us that. Ben Shapiro said, you're retarded if you question the FBI. Meanwhile, in an actual courtroom, under actual oath, the actual lead investigator says he didn't know the crime scene was being paved over, and the odor came from the state. We're not saying we know what happened. We're saying the story, it just doesn't add up. And the people telling it keep insulting us instead of answering the questions. Just answer the questions. Show the work order. Name the official who signed off. It's that simple. Until then, we don't work for you. Ben, you were supposed to be working for us. You're supposed to be doing these investigations to help us get to the truth. So guys, if you're new here, please subscribe because apparently asking questions is a radical act. Guys, let me know your thoughts. Again, I think it's the timeline. The timeline is what's questioning about all this. They also said that they seem to dig down very deep in this picture here. Apparently they went down super deep. They didn't have to go that far to cover it over. And I think this is just, there's another a shot where they actually have gone deeper. This is them filling it in, but they took out a big chunk of where he was. So why was it rushed to do so? Drop your take in the comments below. Is Shapiro wrong or is he wrong, deliberately wrong? There's a difference. And again, check out Augusta Precious Metals. The link is in the description below, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.